everybody, it is Blonde Blitz time. Let's go.
He's had, but I still like the Commanders.
I'm also tough.
DeMar Chase. I'm looking at that Cincinnati team against the Cleveland Browns.
Well, as soon as I saw the rain last night, I was wondering if that might be a little bit of a factor as well.
Play that week is really going to be more impacted.
With the Raiders, who got Jacoby Myers back.
The same thing with Joe Burrow. You just expect Joe Burrow to do it because he's been to a Super Bowl.
It's time to send in the Blitz with Deb Whitcas and the Blonde Blitz.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blonde Blitz. I'm your host, Deb Whitcas. Week 4 is over, and we are headed to Week 5 in the NFL. We have got a great show for you guys today. My special guest is a former NFL kicker, Mike Hollis, who played in the league for 9 years. He led the NFL in scoring and became the most accurate kicker in NFL history during those years. We're going to hear all about his football career and his current endeavors later on in the show. But first, my friend and sports host colleague, Eric Wilson from the Sports Arena, joins for Week 4 Hot Takes. We also have comedian Tom Marcel Durham back today. He's here for some Week 4 funny. Shay Holland, HGTV designer to the athletes, talks Bad Bunny and his halftime performance. That was just announced. And also planning early to host your Super Bowl party. The rest of the show, as always, sports betting expert Alex White is here from Vegas to give you your best bet for Week 5. Fantasy expert Ballers Meg gives us her fantasy picks for Week 5. Intuitive reader 333 Ask Carrie looks at her power deck for the Lions-Bengals game. And finally, Ben Troupe, former tight end for the Bucs and the Titans, is here to help me with Week 5 game picks. He is back. All right, guys, let's get it started with headlines.
Now to Deb Whitcas with the Blonde Blitz headlines.
Week 4 was another thriller across the league with 10 games decided by one score in the fourth quarter, including late daggers from Chicago, the Rams, and Seattle. The highlight came in LA when Matthew Stafford hit Tutu Atwell, who's on my fantasy, for an 88-yard game-winning touchdown with 1:33 left on the clock, the longest go-ahead TD in the final 2 minutes since 1960. Rookie QB Jackson Dart made history in his Giants debut, leading New York to a 21-18 upset over the 3-0 Chargers. Dart became the first quarterback in 23 years to win his first start against an undefeated opponent that was 3-0 or better. The Eagles also stayed perfect at 4-0, joining Buffalo at the top of the standings, while Philly's special teams delivered again with a blocked punt touchdown 1 week after a blocked field goal score. Other Week 4 milestones, we got Aaron Rodgers of the Steelers. He posted the highest completion rate ever at 81.8% in an international game and surpassed Drew Brees for the most 50-plus yard completions in NFL history. Josh Allen tied Cam Newton for the most games, 45, with a passing and rushing TD in NFL history. Rookie Ashton Jeanty of the Raiders exploded for 155 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns, becoming just the third rookie back ever with 100 rush yards, 2 TD catches, and a rushing score in the same game. Moving on to AFC NFC players of the week. You guys know this is my favorite part of the show. Starting off with NFC offensive player of the week, Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua, who I interviewed yesterday. He got 13 catches, 170 yards, and a TD in the win over Indy. Nacua now has 42 receptions through 4 games, tying the NFL record for the most ever to start a season. Go Puka. Defensive player of the week, Eagles CB Quinyon Mitchell, 5 passes defended, allowing just 2 catches for 6 yards on 9 targets in the win over Tampa. Special teams player of the week, Bears CB Josh Blackwell, blocked the Raiders' potential game-winning field goal with 38 seconds left, sealing Chicago's 25-24 road win. AFC offensive player of the week, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He threw for 270 yards and 4 TDs with a 124.8 passer rating in the 37-20 win over Baltimore. Mahomes now has 252 career TD passes, becoming the fastest QB ever to reach 250. Defensive Player of the Week, Jaguars LB Devin Lloyd. He got 8 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a TFL in Jacksonville's 26-21 upset of the 49ers. Finally, Special Teams Player of the Week, Patriots DB Marcus Jones, 167 punt return yards, an 87-yard TD return in New England's 42-13 blowout win over Carolina, setting a franchise single-game record. All right, guys, that's your Week 4 headlines. Another wild Sunday of game winners, milestones, and breakout performances. What a Week 4, right? My friend and colleague Eric Wilson from the Sports Arena is here next with me to talk hot takes.
Next caller is Deb Whitcas, who says she has some really hot takes.
Eric, thank you so much for being here on the Blonde Blitz today. How are you?
Deb, I am phenomenal. How are you? It's been a minute. I'm glad to see you are doing well, and thank you for having me back on the show.
Of course, anytime. Love your Eagles hat, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, this is a actual Super Bowl. Yes, this is a Super Bowl hat right there. You can see from our championship. Yes.
Well, hopefully we see another one this year. We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's start out with last week's can't speak right now. Last week's game, the Buccaneers. Eagles special teams killing it. Michael Clay, the coordinator, doing amazing things out there. Blocking punts. Latu blocked Dixon's punt. Sidney Brown returned it for a 35-yard touchdown. It's going to be a good game when the offense has not even got on the field yet, and we're already scoring, right? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I mean, listen, Philly has always thrived on innovation. First the tush push, now this. I mean, if you're consistently blocking punts and field goals, that's not luck. That's just culture plus coaching. I mean, this might be the Eagles' new trademark. You can call it the Philly wall, because right now, no kicker in the NFL has to feel safe against them. Right. Fans love when we focus on all three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. Special teams make a difference. It's energy shifting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the week before you had Carter and Davis, the Georgia boys getting in there, blocking those kicks, and Davis returned it for a touchdown as well. Like, it's just insane. Like, I feel like it's the Eagles' new tush push. What did you call it?
You're not wrong. I call it the Philly wall, but I mean, listen,
Philly wall.
I like the next thing that we're going to talk about here, the fake one. I mean, I think it should be the Philly wall. That's just my thought process.
Okay. All right. Well, also too, obviously we had this new play we just saw. It's the fake tush push, right? I call it the tush fake. Is what I'm naming that myself. So
it's catchy.
Push the tush fake with a P. Right?
I got you. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's catchy. People, as long as they remember that Deb Whitcas of the Blonde Blitz was the one who coined it, we're good to go.
There we go. Look, let's trademark it. The Philly wall and the tush fake.
Yes. Yeah. Look, if the defense is selling out to stop the tush push, you got to keep them honest. Yeah. And that's why the tush fake, which we'll just call it the remix, that nobody saw coming. Because in that game, it was the first and only time that Philly against the Bucs lined up for the tush push, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, you think that's all we can do? Right. I mean, listen, you could compare it to when a basketball player goes for the pump fake. You could compare it to when a baseball player has that side eye and you think he's going to go straight down, but all of a sudden he hits first baseman to catch the runner. Yep. It's one of those things where it's just creativity. And that is what a lot of teams, especially the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, are doing this year.
Yep. And you have to. I mean, let's face it, we're all NFL, all very talented players. It just comes down to being creative and getting into the end zone, and whatever it takes to do it, do it. And that's what the Eagles are doing this year. And I love to see every minute of it. So there are only 2 undefeated teams left right now. They are the Eagles and the Bills. Do you think we're looking at this year's Super Bowl combo right here, right now?
I don't want to crown anybody too early. We are only just now getting to the beginning of October. But I mean, listen, we can definitely lean into it. This is a matchup that a lot of people outside of Philadelphia and Buffalo have wanted for a while.
Long time.
But it's September football. You know, does this have the makings?
That was October. It's October today.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean,
October 1st, yes. But
you're right about that. Does it have the makings of a heavyweight fight? Yes. Philly with their depth. Buffalo with Josh Allen. It's not crazy to picture it. But as you and I both know, the NFL season is about attrition. There are injuries. There are adjustments. So being undefeated right now for us is very impressive. I mean, the last 20 out of 21. But I'm not going to put the cart before the horse just yet.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I mean, I've wanted to see an Eagles-Bills Super Bowl. I think they were my two picks for last season. Obviously, that didn't happen with the Bills, did with the Eagles. But yeah, I mean, I think right now the Eagles and the Bills are the best, in the 32 teams. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I don't think it's ever too early to start talking about Super Bowl, to be honest. But I get it. You don't want to jinx anything either.
Right, exactly. And it's in your neck of the woods this year. So, I mean, listen, it would be very fitting for, you hosting of this amazing show to be the one to call and be able to see the matchup that you want in your backyard.
Yeah. And I actually just booked my hotel like last week. So I will definitely be there. San Francisco. I book early. You got to get those cheap rates, right?
Hey, very smart. Very smart.
Well, we were at Combine together what was that? The end of March, April? When was that? I don't.
End of February. I think it was. Yeah.
Wow, that forever ago. Yet yesterday. How much did you love to see Jackson Dart start for the Giants and win one? You and I saw him perform at Combine. I was a huge fan right from the get. What were your thoughts?
It was only a matter of time. I think when you had Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart on your roster, I think it was only a matter of time. Plus, as high as the Giants went up to go get him in the first round, seeing him at the NFL Combine was very surreal because we knew the talent was there. The kid had poise, he had confidence, and most importantly, he had the tools. To see him now step into that Giants role and get their first win. An 0-3, well, now 1-3 team beat the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, it was truly for us, I think, a full circle moment. What I like about that is the locker room has embraced him. The fan base has been wanting him. Yep. So now, even though he has said he doesn't want the pressure, sorry to tell you, kid, the pressure's coming.
It's there. Yeah, and I had so many of my Giants fans. Obviously, we're Eagles fans. We have a ton of Giants fans as well.
Right.
So many were reaching out and they're like, Deb, why are they not putting in Dart? Why are they not putting in Dart? I'm like, I wish I had answers for you. I want the same thing you want. I don't get Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, whatever. Dart's the future of the franchise for sure. And we saw that. We saw that on the field, this past Sunday. So yeah, I'm excited about him. I called it from the get at Combine. I was like, Jackson Dart. Shador Sanders, who? Right? It was like, it's all about Dart. I don't know. I got my favorites and I can't get off of it. It's funny.
Hey, listen, stand on it because clearly he is making the noise right now that you have wanted to see and that fans have wanted to see. So, I mean, this is great for him. Let's see how the momentum goes.
Absolutely. I'm hoping and praying for him, even though it's in our division. Giants are still not going to beat the Eagles, but let's talk about a team that I'm confused about. I'm sure you are too. The Ravens are 1-3. What? I'll just start with that question. That's a question. One word. What?
The issue isn't talent. The issue, from my perspective, from my lens, is about health and about consistency.
Right. Well, and they just obviously lost Lamar to a hamstring injury. That double sucks. But yeah, no, and explain more of your thinking with the consistency because it's just not there this season.
Listen, I can say this about certain teams in the NFL. When your quarterback goes down, when your star quarterback that you've invested in goes down, it changes the dynamic of the team. Lamar going down changes everything. But even before the hamstring.
And before the injury, they were having issues. I mean,
Baltimore, yes, they were struggling to finish drives.
Yes.
Identity-wise, I feel like they're still searching. For me, I'm like, you need to have a more balanced game. Coaching adjustments, plus that need for balance with your run game. Listen, I get it. Derrick Henry fumbled. It's going to happen. Teams are getting better. Defenses, I know, defenses are getting better on how to plan for King Henry.
Exactly.
But that does not mean you go away from King Henry. You know, we need definitely more Mark Andrews, who is supposed to be a top target, a top tight end in the game. I just have to see more adjustments. And again, that need for balance.
Right. Well, and there's been a ton of injuries, in the league in general over the past, 4 weeks, but also Tyreek Hill, knee, he's having surgery, had surgery yesterday. Malik Neighbors, ACL, Nick Bosa, ACL. Why do you think there's so many injuries so earlier in the season?
I mean, easiest answer is, and I've been preaching this for at least the past 3 years, it's about strength and conditioning. And it's becoming alarming. You can point to some less preseason contact, shorter ramp-up times, and the sheer speed of today's game, but bodies are not easing in. They're dwindling from week one. And it's both a player safety and league optic issue. I'm not a fan of only having 3 preseason games. I think you need that 4th one. I also feel as, whatever is not done in the offseason to get these athletes physically prepared for a grueling, 17-week season, forget about the travel, forget about everything else outside of it. On the field, you're just not seeing it. Those athletes who have trained and prepared themselves are the ones that last. Now, listen, injuries are a part of the game. Things are going to happen. However, they've got to be more cognizant about making sure that they are that they're mentally and physically, especially, taking the time and the preparation to put themselves in the best position. Because as a fan and as someone like you who does this, we are wanting to see those star players each and every week. Take fantasy football out of it, which is one of the reasons why I stopped doing fantasy football, by the way.
I don't love fantasy. I love pick 'em.
I don't love it either. And every year people continue to ask me, like, you don't do fantasy? I'm like, no, I don't. Why? This is my reason why. It's week 4. And think about it like this. If I had George Kittle, Lamar Jackson, Malik Neighbors, right. If I had any of those guys on my league,
I had
I'd be throwing my hands up in
Worthy
the air.
the very first week. And I was like, I'm
right. And now you add Tyreek Hill in. It's just, that just gives me too much anxiety. I'm like, forget about it. I'm not doing it.
I'm the same way.
But I hope the league focuses on this moving forward as far as the players, their health, their conditioning, and most importantly, their safety.
Absolutely. And as a fan, we don't like to see players go down. I mean, it's awful.
No.
You know what I mean?
Listen, we can't stand the Cowboys, but that doesn't mean I want CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens or Dak Prescott or anybody out. No. I just want them to get squashed by us, but I don't want to see them out for the season.
Right.
You know,
nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. I mean, it's a game.
Right.
It's a game. Granted, they get paid a lot of money for it, but it is a game. Let's finish up with Bad Bunny was announced as the halftime show. What are your thoughts on that? I barely know who Bad Bunny is. I'm going to be completely honest.
Oh, really? Well, here's my thing. So I'll tell you a quick funny story. Friends of mine who now live in Vegas, they would go to Vegas all the time. They happened to be staying in the hotel that Bad Bunny was in. And my friend, Allison, she was in the elevator with him and really didn't know who he was. So, he brings a crossover appeal. Latin music, global fan base, high energy. And as we know from what we've seen with the NFL, the halftime show is about spectacle. And in my opinion, he fits the bill. Purists may question it, but honestly, let's face facts.
I'm not questioning
the halftime show.
Don't really know. I mean, I've heard of him, I've heard good things. I'm excited for the show. I just don't follow his music.
Right. Like those who are pure football purists, as I said, they're going to question it. But we all know the halftime show it's an anomaly inside of the game. There are people who go to Super Bowl parties specifically for the halftime show. That's it. That's what they go for, and the commercials.
And the commercials.
You know what I mean?
Care less.
I mean, let's look at. We always go back and we look at past years, and we look at when Michael Jackson performed, or when Beyonce and Coldplay and Bruno Mars performed, or when Prince performed, or when Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson performed. Going up to even last year with Kendrick Lamar and SZA. It was.
Madonna 1 year, right? Too.
I believe so. And then you had everybody from Death Row who did it with Snoop and Dre and Eminem and 50. And so it's one of those things where inside of the biggest game of the year, you have the biggest show of the year. And I mean, listen, I think it's good. It's going to draw even more of a fan base. Bad Bunny is known the world over. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the stage this year. Again, in California, in San Fran, for Super Bowl 60.
Awesome. All right, Eric, thank you so much for being here. Where can our audience find you at the Sports Arena?
Sports Arena, you guys can check me out. You can follow me on my IG at Eric Wilson TV. It's also on X. And, typically shows are Monday nights. Things have just been a little chaotic with how the season has started, but it will be rocking and rolling. And again, a huge thank you to you, everybody at the Blonde Blitz, for making this possible.
Ew.
Much love to you and all the success, and best of luck. Have a great time. And listen, always, as an Eagle fan and family, if you need me, I got you.
All right, Eric, thank you so much. And go Birds.
Go Birds. I'll talk to you.
I am so excited to have my special guest this week. He had a 9-year career in the NFL as a kicker. He led the NFL in scoring and became the most accurate kicker in NFL history at the time. We will learn all about his football career and his current endeavors. Everyone, please help me welcome Mike Hollis.
I'm still waiting for my invite as a special guest on the Blonde Blitz. My agent is waiting for your call, Deb.
Hey, Mike.
Well, that was cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. That ran a little over, but I'm so excited to have you here.
No problem.
So let's start real basic. Why football? Why do you love it?
Well, I, as well as many other kickers, started out with soccer. So I was a very active kid, playing in the community, in the neighborhood with all of my neighbor kids, and playing all kinds of sports. And soccer was one that I kind of tied into, and I wasn't ever the biggest kid in the world. So that's one reason why I chose kicker. I love to kick the ball. I was always the guy that shot the penalty shots, and always had a pretty strong leg. So I just started kicking football and just really fell in love with it. And that's really where I ended up. And plus, again, I'm not a very big guy, so I didn't want to get killed on the field. So I wanted to choose a position that was at least somewhat safe.
When did you make that transition from soccer to football? At what age?
Well, it was like 8th grade, long time ago. I played many years of soccer prior to 8th grade, and I just was wanted to be on an organized football team. And of course, they asked who's going to be our kicker this year, and a couple of people raised their hand, and I happened to be the best one at the time, and that's where my career started.
It's funny. I actually love kicking myself. I come from a dance background, and I love kicking as a dancer. And I've kicked a few footballs, and the coaches are like, "Wait a minute, you can do this." I actually thought about going out for the team, the women's team out here in LA. We're not going to do it this year, but maybe in the future. Maybe you could coach me. But we'll talk about your coaching business in a bit. But tell me a little bit. When did you know that you could go pro?
I never even thought about it until maybe my senior year of college. Honestly, that's when I started kind of comparing myself, maybe my junior year. I started comparing myself to NFL guys. Of course, I watched the football games on Sundays, and I get the hang times and the kickoffs. I'm like, wow, I'm doing that. I'm doing better than that, or whatever. And so I felt that there was an opportunity. My big philosophy was just to be as good as I personally could be. Mm-hmm. And if I was, found the technique that I was taught, which I firmly believe in, if I found the right tools and I mastered those tools, whatever level that got me to, I have to be okay with, because that's just as high as I'm going to get. And it happened to be the NFL, which was great.
Right? I mean, that's the best and the top that you can go. Tell me about your college career a little bit. You said you started playing your junior year, or not playing, but started thinking about more NFL your junior, senior year. What was that transition like from college to the NFL? How did that happen? Like, take me back to that phone call from the Jaguars.
Well, it was a tough road for me. I had a lot of people coming out of high school. I was number one in the league that we were in Spokane, Washington, and I didn't get any looks from any universities. Jason Hansen's brother, ironically, Jason Hansen had a brother by the name of Travis Hansen. We all grew up in the same area, Spokane, and Travis Hansen got a full-ride scholarship to the University of Washington. I ended up going to a junior college, so I wanted a scholarship. Long story short, they wanted me because I was, because I fit their program, and they weren't worried about my size. I could kick a ball. Then when I finished the 2 years there at Wenatchee Valley College in Central Washington, I was right back in the same boat I was in high school. Coming out of high school looking for a college. I was looking around like I got 2 more years of eligibility and no one wants me. Finally, John L. Smith from the University of Idaho, go Vandals. Called me up one day and said, "Hey, we got this guy from Michigan State. We think he transferred in, not as good as we thought. So give it a shot." And so, anyways, it's a long story, but it definitely was a road. I had a lot of hurdles. I had a lot of people to prove wrong, and it all came out of my size. I was kicking the ball better than guys that were twice my size and athletic ability. So I did prove a lot of people wrong, and I'm happy to do so. But was eventually got me in the NFL, and the history is there.
Yeah, and take me back to that phone call you got from the Jaguars, because you played the inaugural season of the Jaguars.
Yeah, very, very funny story, because I had an agent at the time that we were talking about the Jaguars. They gave me an opportunity to send them film and this and that. And my agent finally I had San Diego Chargers. I was my first team in '94. I got on, right? So Bobby Beathard wanted me back in San Diego, but I told him, I said, "Listen, Jacksonville expressed an interest. I got a much better shot of getting the starting job in Jacksonville than I did in San Diego because of John Carney." And literally, he gave me a couple weeks. And long story short, we went back and forth. My agent finally said, "Tom Coughlin thinks you're too short. They're going to go with a different guy." And so I'm like, whatever.
That, by the way,
it was crazy. It's a crazy story. And so I'm thinking I'm going to go back to San Diego. And out of the blue, I told my family on a Sunday night, I said, "Hey, listen, I've held on to San Diego too long. I got to get my ducks in a row. I got to make a decision. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to call San Diego and I'll go back there." Monday morning, Jaguars called and said, "Hey, Tom Coughlin wants to see you kick in person. He just doesn't believe that you could actually do what we see on film." So they flew in that Thursday and signed me to the team then. That's
wild. So San Diego lost out.
Yeah, but I was there the year before, and John Carney had gone to the Pro Bowl that year. So my shots were, I had no shot whatsoever. My chances were very slim.
Well, and you set a number of kicking records with the Jags. What were they?
Well, I mean, I was the first kicker ever. So one record that will never be broken. So the only one I can hold on to is I was the first scoring points in franchise history came off my foot as a field goal. So that's the only record that can't be broken. Scobie's broken my scoring record, my long distance field goal record. Those were, points record in a season. Maybe it might be still a record. I really don't know, honestly. I really don't. We've had so many kickers since me, so it's hard to keep track.
Right. And then you played for the Bills one season, and then the Giants, and then you unfortunately suffered a back injury that took you out of the league. But what was your favorite memory on the field?
Well, I go back to the days of the glory days of the Jaguars when we were winning a lot of games in the late '90s, and I think back to the victories we had in our first playoff run. We beat the Buffalo Bills unexpectedly. Then we beat the Denver Broncos very unexpectedly. And then we went in and lost to the Patriots in 1996 in that AFC Championship game. But beating the Bills with a field goal with a couple minutes left, less than a minute and a half, something like that left, felt pretty awesome, to have that ability to do that. Then we go into Denver and we knocked them off. And flying back, that was really the memory I'm really referring to, is flying back from Denver to Jacksonville at, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it was. Captain gets on the intercom and says, "Hey, we've been cleared to do a little flyover. You guys on the left-hand side of the plane, go ahead and look out your windows. You're going to see a lot of raving fans." And we did a nice, left-hand turn bank right over the stadium, and you literally could see people in the stadium with their hands up. And then, of course, they drop us off at the airport. There's a million people on the road, lining the roads with signs, and then we drive to the stadium in the buses, and there's a million people there. And then getting on the field and talking to the fans at the wee hours of the morning. What an amazing experience. I'm still getting goosebumps every time I talk.
I'm getting goosebumps as you're talking about it. So what an impactful time. Yeah. And I know when I interview different players, they always talk about the rides home, the airplane ride home, how much fun it is after a win, and how, and unfortunately how much it sucks when they don't win. So.
Pretty quiet when we lose.
Yeah. What's your longest kick? What's your record?
In a game, I kicked a 59-yard field goal. A lot of people don't realize that, but it was in preseason, so that's why you won't ever see it on the stat sheet. So that was a bummer. That was in St. Louis against the Rams in the dome there. So that was in '96, and that was actually a kind of a make or break kick for me. If I had missed that kick, I probably would have gotten cut from the Jaguars. And because I'd missed a couple in preseason, and that was after my first year, which I was only like 20 of 27 on field goal, so it wasn't very good my first year. So they could have, had I missed that kick, they had a great reason to release me. But that was kind of a turning point in my career. So I'll put my hat on that one.
And then you went to play 7 more seasons, right, with the Jags, and make a lot of records, or break a lot of records, or make same thing, right?
Make and break, yeah.
Right. So you're now retired. What are you doing? What are your passions now?
Well, my passions, being a football player and being active, and I'm very youthful. I'm 53 years old. You'd never know it. And I don't feel like I'm 53.
You don't look 53.
I'm very prideful in anti-aging and health and wellness, and really have a passion for not only myself, staying as young and active as possible, and having a lot of vitality, and just being really energetic and optimistic. I want to do that for others. And so I've kind of always been involved in the proactive wellness, the holistic sort of space when it comes to health and wellness. And I've developed recently a platform called Zealous Wellness. I actually started out being as a podcast, which I'm still doing. So I do Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis on 5:30 every Eastern time every Monday night. But it started with that, and then I kind of added some things that I'm involved with, some proactive wellness supplements, of course, and then also peptides and things like that. I'm with a company called Premier Life. We do self-administering peptides. We can send them anywhere in the nation. And some other, aspects to that company as well: hormone therapy, gene therapy, IV vitamin therapy as well. So we have a concierge service where you can just, it's like a teledoc sort of service where you can just call up your practitioner anytime you want to with any questions. So it's an awesome program.
How important it is for people to feel their best. And you obviously have a ton of energy. I want whatever you're giving myself. So,
well, I'll tell you by personal experience. When I retired from the NFL, my back, I've had 4 back surgeries. So I'm like, I'm going to rest my back. Yeah. And boy, did I rest my back. I rested it too long. I ate crappy food. I got lazy. Last thing I wanted to do was go to the gym. And guess what? I got a little overweight, right? And that's not the first time it happened. I went through a divorce and all this, and food was my go-to. So I put on some LBs, and I'm telling you that maybe 2 or 3 times I actually put on some significant weight where I'm noticing I didn't feel good. And it came to a breaking point when I finally decided to get off my butt and do some consistent working out, but I had to find something that was good for me. And boxing was a good thing. I do boxing, and you mentioned kicking in your dance, and I do a lot of kickboxing, and it comes natural to me, which I love, but it's a really good workout. But I had to find that reason to get back in shape. And the turning point came when I realized I'm literally huffing and puffing to tie my shoes. And I'm like, I'm a professional athlete. This doesn't happen. Right. And I was really upset with myself. And so I had that turning point and went forward. And that from that point on, really, I've been really glued into proactive wellness and health and wellness, fitness, you name it. I just want people to be young and vibrant.
And you also are founder of Proform Kicking Academy, correct?
Oh, yeah. 19 years in running.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about that. I understand you teach a unique form of kicking and punting.
Yeah, I could talk to you for hours about this, but the thing that I always rely on, or I go back to, it's kind of a selling point, if you will, is the fact that I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. We'll say I was technically 5'7" in the NFL, 180 pounds, very small guy, and I'm, on top of that, I was a very average athlete. Wasn't freakishly strong, wasn't just incredibly athletic. I was just an average Joe, right? And for me, as an average Joe being that size, and for me to be able to do the things I did in the NFL, now I had relied on some athletic ability coming up through college and high school and all that. But when I got to the NFL, that's when things started to change. Actually, my latter years in college, I started to develop and got with my kicking coach, Jim Gaetano is his name, and he taught me the method I'm teaching guys now, and it really embraces the whole body. The mechanics of the whole body, and it's very incredibly scientific when it comes down to it. There's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, I got a lot of knowledge in this tiny little brain of mine, but when it comes down to kicking, and I can draw out the physics of it and prove to you that certain things will make the ball go certain directions, height and distance and all that. And it goes, and the hard part is the fact that it goes against what common sense kicking is. Most kickers want to do it a certain way, and they oh, this feels good. I hit that one really well. I think I should keep doing that. And they're doing a lot of lateral stuff on field goals, which you would think a soccer style kicker would do, but I don't. So it's using forward body momentum and body weight and all that stuff. But kickers don't, unless they've been with me, they have no clue how to make a ball go a certain direction when you do the things that I'm telling you to do. But it's been a really big passion of mine. I love seeing success. I've got a kid up in British Columbia now who's a starting true freshman now. He's doing really well, and I've had some guys in the Arena League, a couple guys in the NFL. Nick Novak was an old client of mine, and now he's teaching kind of my stuff. So, and that's another thing too, is I love passing down the information to other generations so they can keep it rolling.
Is there a current kicker or punter that you like right now, or is anyone?
I mean, there's guys in the NFL. Those guys in the NFL, that's the thing with NFL kickers. Most of them, they're all pretty smooth with what they do, but they're all kicky a little differently. And then you think about the athleticism.
Especially
of guys.
Cardi on the Rams, he's way different.
Right. And even our guy Cam Little, I don't like the way he kicks because I could never do it that way, but he is incredibly athletic. And he's able to do what he does, and you can't argue with that. I would never argue with the way he kicks, other than the fact that I could never do it, and any average Joe out there could never do it. So the stuff that I would teach would give the average Joe the ability to kick as best they could, and take advantage of using all of them. But there's a lot of different type of techniques out there. Some are pretty smooth, some are kind of close to what I like, but for the most part, I would always change something about somebody's form. But again, I can't bark. These guys are good. These guys are really, really, really good.
So are you
right now? Well, back then,
9 years, yes.
In those times, but these days, man, these guys are just crushing the ball.
Awesome. Mike, thank you so much for being on the Blonde Blitz. Where can our audience find you?
Well, zealouswellness.com. You can Google my name. You'll find Proform Kicking out there. Proformkicking.com is my kicking academy, but Zealous Wellness is the wellness platform that I use. And on social, all my socials are either Mike Hollis or Proform Kicking. And I got the Zealous Wellness page on Facebook as well. So got all of them.
All right, guys, make sure you check that out. And Mike, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, now it's time for a little week 4 funny with Chad.
Okay, I got one for you. What did the wide receiver say to the football? Catch you later. Yeah, my jokes suck. That's why I watch the Blonde Blitz.
Hello, Todd. How are you?
I'm good. Great TN on the wide receiver thing, because that's my favorite subject. They're the population group that I hate the most. So,
and I love the most. So there we go.
And then that's why we're a good match here today.
There we go.
Up first, did you watch Denver play the Bengals?
I did. Bengals suck. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, that's what's going on right now. But the thing I think we don't talk enough about Patrick Surtain 2's dominance. We don't talk. He won the Defensive Player of the Year last year. And here's a stat line that I want to sing like a mockingbird. Patrick Surtain 2 is now matched up against Jamar Chase on 54 career routes and has allowed 4 receptions for 35 yards, proving my point that there's no such thing as a wide receiver 1 if a cornerback is good enough. That's it. And I say that to start with because it's coming up on homecoming season for the kids, or girls are getting asked to homecoming, right?
Yep. You can Hoco with me.
Coco with me. Cuffing season's coming up with people proposing, right? Here's the rule. Okay, ladies, I don't mean to be a sexist about this, but the rule is this. All women right now, because of how good Patrick Surtain 2 is, you have to defer the answer yes to whether or not Patrick Surtain 2 wants to ask first. So you got to press pause and say, listen, Mike, whatever, boyfriend, fiance, hang on real quick. Let me ask Patrick Surtain 2 because he will hold me closer to him than anything you could ever do. If Jamar Chase runs wild on the field and Patrick Surtain 2 can keep him that tight, he's the guy for the job. Okay, that's those are the rules now. All right. Okay. Monday Night Football. Sunday Night Football. Packers, Cowboys. What was the big thing of that night?
I don't even remember that game now.
Micah, exactly.
Oh, Micah Parsons, of course. Micah Parsons playing Dallas. Come on, yes, of course.
Playing Dallas. We had a build-up. We did. We all had a build-up. We wanted a conclusion to the build-up, and we didn't get it because it ended in a tie. Here's the deal. Player safety.
The highest tie ever. Highest score, one of the highest scoring games in NFL history. Or
since
the
like
highest
73 or 78 or something like that.
Insane.
Look, I get it. Player safety. You don't want to go into a second overtime. I don't care if they play rock, paper, scissors at the end of the game. Somebody had better win. Okay.
I hate ties too. I hate them. I'm like, someone needs to win this game. Like, why are they walking off the field right now? No one has won.
After all that buildup, I would prefer that Dak Prescott, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, and Love get in the star in the middle and play duck, duck, goose rather than end in the tie. Those are my preferences for the NFL.
Yes. Rule number 2.
Yeah, for sure. Also, here's another thing I'm seeing a lot, and I don't know if it's because I got YouTube TV, that's how I watch it. But have you seen the Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson cereal commercials?
I have not.
Okay. Well, for those that have watched it, it's 3 wide receivers that are doing their end zone dances to sell Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, and Honey Nut Cheerios. 3 cereals that are toxic to children because they've got more sugar than anything. So much sugar, and they're using their end zone dances to celebrate. I'm like, look, okay, we got to put some boundaries on this.
Diabetes in a box.
Diabetes in a box to these kids. We got to put boundaries on this. Kids, if you want to eat that cereal, you have to name 5 offensive linemen in the NFL, period. That's it. If you can do that, then you can have a bowl of cereal. But guess what? The NFL doesn't care about offensive linemen, so no kid is going to get that job done. And also, because of, once again, I hate wide receivers, the wide receivers in those commercials have to name their own offensive linemen in order to get the paycheck from the commercial. And guess what? They can't because they're too busy dancing by themselves and not with the offensive linemen. So that's how we mitigate that commercial. That's my, and I don't think I'm wrong about that. Lastly, have we heard Jerry Jones talk recently? It's phenomenal. Have you seen the Netflix docuseries, The Gambler and His Cowboys? The way this guy talks. Oh, you have to watch it. It's fantastic.
The bus was following me on the 405, by the way. That was right by the. Yeah, the 405 on the 405. The bus with the Dallas, but like Jerry Jones' bus was right next to me and followed me halfway down the 405. I was trying to take a picture, but my phone died. Yeah,
that's fantastic. I know that you're an Eagles fan. It's pure football. You have to watch the docuseries, and in that docuseries, and also on Sunday Night Football, Jerry Jones talks like it's still the 40s and he's in Arkansas. Like, I think this guy, we need to hand him the microphone as often as possible until he's dead, because the stuff that comes out of his mouth, it sounds like he's on a riverboat in Mississippi trading possum pelts for salmon jerky. The dude just talks like he's in Arkansas right now, and I don't think people are really valuing him for that asset. And that's really all I have for you this week.
All right, thanks, Todd. Where can our audience find you?
At Todd Marcel Durham on everything.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys, the Super Bowl halftime show has been announced, and it is Bad Bunny. We talked a little bit about it with Eric. HGTV designer to the stars, Shay Holland breaks down everything we know from Bad Bunny to planning early for your hosting your own Super Bowl party.
When I need the latest in style and entertainment, I tune into the Blonde Blitz.
Hello, Shay. How are you?
How are you?
Good to have you back. So let's talk about this big NFL announcement this week. The Super Bowl halftime show, Bad Bunny will be performing, stirring a ton of controversy. And honestly, we still have 5 months till the big game, so it's a little crazy. Do you think Bad Bunny was the right pick for Super Bowl halftime?
That depends on who you ask. Now, I
I'm asking
really
you.
did think that. Well, my opinion, I did think Taylor Swift was gonna make an announcement that it was gonna be her. That was all the talk.
I thought it was
leading
gonna
up
be
to
Taylor
this,
too.
That it was, so I actually was quite surprised, to be honest with you. Yes, we've seen a lot of Taylor Swift. We're probably over her, but it would have made sense, especially if this turns out to be Travis Kelce's last year in the league.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Now, as far as Bad Bunny, I personally, there's aspects of it I like and a lot that I don't like, I'm going to admit. But what it comes down to is money. This is going to be a money maker for the league. This guy is one of the biggest international superstars. It's going to bring in that younger demo that listens to him. It's going to bring in much more of a global audience. And so that's really what it came down to. And I think the rumors are, and I haven't been able to confirm it, that Taylor actually turned them down because she is very big, as we all know, on owning the rights to her own music and her performances. And the NFL wasn't willing to budge on that. So who knows? I don't know that we'll ever know the truth of how this came out. But expect a lot of controversy leading up to the Super Bowl, which is really unfortunate. I feel like I hate it when these things take attention from the game.
Right. Well, let's talk about Bad Bunny a little bit. He has a lot of real estate, and people copy his style a lot. For fans, who are fans, what does that look like as far as design?
Yeah, now that is one part of him I do like. The guy really knows his design. There was a quote he said that I read that he could have gotten in a lot of trouble when he was younger, but he loved to be at home. And so he wasn't out running the streets like some of his friends. He wasn't out doing drugs. He loved to be at home with his family. And that carries over to today. He owns a ton of real estate. In fact, when I think he really kind of came on my radar was not so much when he was dating Kendall Jenner, but when he bought Ariana Grande's home in the Hollywood Hills and has redone that. And so the guy really has an eye, and it very much mimics his performances. His spaces are very bold. They're very eclectic. In fact, San Francisco is going to be a great location for the performance if you like his style, if you like his home style. I was actually thinking of like the Painted Ladies in San Francisco, how they're all these vibrant colors. They're not Latin, obviously, but they have some elements that really speak to his design style and why home is important to him. And the guy is building a real estate empire right along with his music empire.
Absolutely. What if someone wants to have a Bad Bunny Super Bowl watch party? Any ideas there?
Don't invite the kids. No, I'm kidding.
It's not PG from what I'm hearing.
He is not known for being PG, but you can make your own party PG. I'm sort of just kidding there. And some of the things that you really would want to do. Now, this is going to be a fun opportunity to really kind of go wild with your Super Bowl party because his performances are all about the immersive elements. In fact, one of the things he had at his concerts was what's called, I'm going to say this, I won't even try to say it in Spanish, but it's a little house that he uses as part of his stage. And that's where celebrities come and watch his performances. And sometimes they're part of the performance. And it's a replica of a tiny house in Puerto Rico, I believe. And so if you want to kind of have like separate spaces, like if you want to have a conversation area, I could see even like maybe putting up a tent inside for those who prefer to talk through the game and drive everybody crazy. You could do something like that. You could have a separate space for the kids. Every single kid, the kid doesn't like to play in their own separate space? Maybe that's draped with some fabric or something. So there's really some creative ways to bring in love of home with this. And then also just maybe some unique color choices. It doesn't necessarily have to be the colors of your team unless your teams get in it. You could go with these bold, clashing, vibrant Puerto Rican type of colors. And then I think also what I would love to see at a party is maybe like a photo booth. And everybody come dressed maybe in something kind of wild. He's known for his wild fashion sense. And so this would be a fun, almost like Halloween in some ways, but it's just to dress up in maybe something you would never dress up, these really vibrant colors, your fusion, the colors that we see in the Latin culture, and have a photo booth there. And that would be a really fun, halftime, way to incorporate it and have some of the music as well. So this is going to be a fun one as far as the entertainment side of it. The other parts of it, the controversial side of it, is unfortunate.
Right. Well, it sounds like a fun Super Bowl party. We might have to try that ourselves when we go to Super Bowl when we're covering it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very flavorful, colorful one, and incorporating some of those foods for sure.
Awesome. All right, Shay, thank you so much. Where can our audience find you?
I'm at Shay Holland Official on Instagram, and it's always such a pleasure to be with you every week.
All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you. All right, guys, let's get into the game, shall we? Please welcome third-generation sports betting expert Alex White to give us your best bet for week number 5.
It's time to get some NFL betting advice from Alex White and the Blonde Blitz. Win big so I can rob you later.
Hello, Blonde Blitz tribe. Alex White here, checking in again from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Sports by the Book is the show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the NFL season. I'm sure Deb is with her Eagles 4-0. Cannot wait for the Denver-Philadelphia game this weekend. Game of the weekend by far. Not betting wise though, the best bet on the board. This is one where you are going to place the bets and then not check until after the game. It's the London game. The total's 36. We're going under that total. The Browns 31st right now in scoring, averaging 14 points per game. They're going to give Dylan Gabriel a chance here. He'll get the start at quarterback. And Brian Flores, the DC for the Vikings, historically good against rookie quarterbacks. So first start of his career, and he's going up against a really good defense. They're 9th right now in scoring defense, holding opponents to 20 points on average. On the other side, the Vikings offense with Carson Wentz or JJ McCarthy has not really impressed me much this year. And Carson Wentz struggled last week against a Pittsburgh defense that has struggled so far this year. Cleveland's defense is legit. Right now, they're number 1 in opponent yards per play at 4.1. They're also holding their opponents to an average of 222 yards per game. The two best units on the field are going to be both defenses. I know 36 feels really low, feels like a scary number, but I think it's still too high. That's my best bet of the week. I hope everybody is enjoying the season. Can't wait to jump on live with Deb and everybody else. Keep it going. Love you, everybody, at the Blonde Blitz.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. Some great information there. I'm going to go bet myself. Of course, we cannot talk sports betting without talking fantasy. Here's fantasy expert Ballers Meg with her advice for week 5.
When I'm looking for fantasy advice, I listen to Meg from TSS Fantasy.
Hi guys, welcome back to the fantasy football section of the Blonde Blitz with me, Ballers Meg. I'm coming at you with some week 5 hints, tips and advice to make sure you get the most out of your fantasy football lineups. First up, it is bye weeks starting this week, so make sure your lineup is not going to be affected by anyone who is sitting on a bye week and that you've nobody sitting there who's going to waste space on your team. Swap them out accordingly. Next up, some players that I'd be looking to pick up if I were you. Firstly, starting off over in Miami with Jalen Waddle, who's recently become wide receiver 1 due to Tyreek Hill being taken out for the season with that dislocated knee and ACL/ligament damage that he's done. Jalen Waddle is already a target for Tua. We are seeing that consistently, and I think that is only going to keep getting more and more as the weeks go on without Tyreek Hill being there as wide receiver 1. Next up, another player who's recently been elevated is Jackson Dart, who is now quarterback 1 for the New York Giants. I like what I'm seeing there. He had a phenomenal first game as starting quarterback. He scored a touchdown in his first drive. He managed that team so well. He ran the ball, he passed the ball, he did all the good things. So look out for Jackson Dart. I love what he's doing there, and I think he could get some really good points. Finally, maybe an unexpected one, but heading over to the Tennessee Titans, Alik Ayomana is a player who is just putting points on the board. For fantasy football, he is one of the only targets at Tennessee that is consistently getting targeted by Cam Ward. The connection that they've got is phenomenal, and I really like what I'm seeing over there. Calvin Ridley, unfortunately, has been a bit disappointing so far this season. So if you've got him, I would drop him and try and swap him out for Elik Ayomana, because he's definitely putting up more points. If you would like some more hints, tips, tricks on fantasy football, please make sure you tune in on Sunday morning for Wake Up with TSS Fantasy over on YouTube. And follow me, Ballers_Meg, on all the social media platforms for my daily updates, content and news on all things fantasy and all things NFL. See you next week, guys.
Thanks so much, Meg. Intuitive Reader 333 asks Carrie is using her Power Deck cards next to predict the Lions versus Bengals game this week. Carrie, what do you got for us?
Let's see what the Power Deck cards say about these NFL team futures.
Three Ask Carrie here with the Power Deck, giving you Week 5 predictions for the Lions versus Bengals game. So from an Astroscape perspective, there definitely is a lot going on, especially in regards to the upcoming full moon in Aries, giving a warrior-like spirit that's definitely going to leave a power punch for those that happen to be in the sign of Aries. And we are today starting the sun in Libra, which means that we are into Libra season. That's a lot of like mental clarity and jog going on. And finally, we're able to see what is behind the veil. So the Bengals, though, happen to have been on kind of a very rocky streak with Joe Burrow, their main QB1, out with a toe surgery going on. And then Jake Browning, who, by the way, is also an Aries. So he's going to try to make a launch or a release of energy that's going to hopefully put the Bengals up back on top with a win. But will they? So I'm not sure, guys, because the Lions really happen to be bringing a full set of energy with what's been happening, especially with quarterback Jared Goff, who happens to be a Libra, and it is his season. So we have for the Lions, let's go with it, a King of Hearts, which, by the way, guys, Hearts represents water sign. And who are Hearts? Amon-Ra St. Brown and also Jamar Gibbs. They're both water signs. Jamar Gibbs is a Pisces and Brown is a Scorpio. So they're definitely bringing their A games for these last few games. Then we have the 10 of Hearts for their current position. So they're the most favorited to win. And then Queen of Pentacles. Why am I getting a female gendered card in this particular deck? With the Jack of Hearts. So there's no doubt that there's definitely going to be a lot of energy with Sheila Ford being the owner, and she's going to be super happy with this particular game because I feel it's a win. The cards that the Bengals get are the 9 of Spades, which is just definitely not a very pretty card. It's probably one of my worst cards in the deck. So that's going into this particular Week 5 game. And then we have the King of Spades, which happens to be a Libra or air sign male that's going to dominate what's happening in the current energy. And then they get the 5 of Pentacles. Wah, wah. So unfortunately, I kind of feel that the Bengals are not going to be able to pull it out. But the score being 31 Lions and 17 Bengals. Good luck, guys.
Thanks so much, Carrie. All right, guys. Ben Troupe, former tight end for the Bucs and the Titans, has been patiently waiting backstage to help me with Week 5 game picks. Ben, where you at?
Bring in Deb and Troupe so we can get our NFL picks.
Ben, so good to see you. Oh, you're on mute.
See, I ain't been on in a while. I forgot to hit the mute button.
You forget. Welcome back, by the way.
Good to be back.
So let's start off. 49ers, Rams, Thursday Night Football. Who you got and why?
Brock Purdy can't seem to stay off the IR. I think he's going back on the IR. But I was going to pick, I'm still going to go with the Rams. I like the way they've been playing as of late. I'm hoping to cool. I mean, if you haven't figured it out yet, you got to try to find a way to slow him down.
Yep.
Might be the best
Number one
receiver in
wide
football.
receiver
I'm
in
gonna go
the
with the
NFL
Rams.
right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams. Go with the Rams.
Yeah, no, I agree with the Rams. I'm covering them this season. I'm at the practice facility, so I interviewed Puka yesterday. The 49ers lead all-time record between the two teams, 78-71-3. The last season that the Rams swept the series against San Fran, they won 27-24 and 12-6. The odds for this game. LA has a 5.5 favorite. I'm going Rams on this one. Let's go Broncos Eagles Sunday 1 p.m. What you got and why?
I like the way the Broncos have been playing as late. I mean, outside of the fact that Bo Nix don't seem him and Sean Payton have a nice little, love-hate relationship on the sideline. But the Eagles have just been. If you're finding a way to win games and A.J. Brown got 2 catches at the end of the game, I don't think that's going to be a recipe for success moving forward.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley hasn't really been himself like we saw in 2024. He's due for a breakout. I think this might be his breakout game. Give me the Eagles. Continue to be undefeated.
Yeah, I'm going to go Eagles too. I mean, you almost have to. The last game they played this matchup, November 14th, 2021, Eagles defeated Denver 30-13. Eagles right now are one of the only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. They're coming off the win of the Buccaneers. But I feel like I kind of agree with you. Like the Eagles haven't found their identity yet on offense. Defense, I think, is doing, obviously amazing.
Yeah.
So special teams, obviously. I just feel like that offense we saw last season was so clicking. And yes, we're there. The Eagles are still winning, but it's like there has to be a little something more to get them to Super Bowl, I feel like, this season, or to get to the playoffs. We'll see. I think they'll click. Eagles tend to click later in the season, and I think it's going to happen. But the Eagles are also 4-0. So there we go.
Yeah.
So can't complain, right? Eagles are favored by 4.5. I'm going Birds. Let's do Bucks versus Seahawks. I'm really excited to see this game. Sunday, 4:05 p.m. What are you thinking?
Baker Mayfield is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. Emeka Egbuka, this young man, I think I got him on my fantasy as my fantasy receiver. Got him off the bench. What he's been able to do. Mike Evans not going to be there, but it's something about this Seahawks team. I mean, it's that NFC West going to come down to the wire. We can talk about them. We can talk about obviously the 49ers and the Rams, but I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Not because I don't think the Bucs are good enough to beat them. I just think the Seahawks are playing inspired football. Sam Darnold is proving I could be a good quarterback outside of Minnesota. Give me the Seahawks over the Bucs.
You know what? I was going to go with the Bucs before we started and before I just heard you talking. But Seahawks are home. They have a slight home favorite they're favored by 3. The last time these two played, the Buccaneers won 21-16. But yeah, I'm going to go Seahawks too. The interesting thing about this game is, the Seahawks are doing well, but then the Seattle Mariners are doing really well, MLB, and they might play in the same time.
Yeah, I heard about that.
The city of Seattle is considering delaying the Seahawks-Buck game, they might actually delay it because of like potential traffic situations. So we'll see if that gets delayed, but I'm going Seahawks. All right. Do you want to do Commanders, Chargers, or Chiefs, Jags?
Oh man, give me the Chiefs and the Jags.
All right, let's talk it. Go ahead. Monday Night Football. Go ahead.
No one saw the Jags being 3-1 right now, when no one saw the Chiefs being 1-3. It's crazy what's going on right now in the National Football League. Liam Cohen, 3-1. I still don't know what they're doing with Travis Hunter on offense and defense. He might have to pick a side. I don't know what's going to, but there is no way that Patrick Mahomes is going to stare across the field and go, look, I just beat up on Lamar Jackson and company. I hope Lamar Jackson's all right with the hamstring. Yeah, love what you're doing, Trevor Lawrence. But no, I like what the Jags doing, but I think Kansas City, they get back-to-back wins. I don't know if Travis Kelce gonna be in on the act. That's kind of been a crazy relationship this year too. I know he's getting married. I don't know if he's worried about wedding plans more than he's worried about on the field. I don't know. I ain't talked to Travis.
And what's your rule, Ben? No weddings in the fall.
And there are no exceptions either. Just because Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, there are no exceptions, people. But Travis, if you want to invite me to the wedding, I'll definitely come. You don't know me, but if you want me to come, I will make an appearance. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs. It's going to be a better game than people think it is, but I think Patrick Mahomes, he understands now, look, I haven't ever been in this position scratching and clawing. It's only 4 games. But 1-3 going up against 3-1, and we talking about the 3-1 Jags, I'm going to go with the 1-3 Kansas City Chiefs to get a big win on Monday night.
I agree with you. You said the Jags have been overlooked. The media has largely overlooked the Jags even after their Week 4 win, and I think that's strange. But if Jacksonville can defeat the Chiefs, I think they'll no longer be ignored. I think they'll, be looked at as a little bit of a force this season. The Chiefs lead the all-time series against Jacksonville. The records of 9 wins and 6 losses in the regular season. The Chiefs, though, have won the last 8 matchups against the Jags. I think they're going to win this one too. They are favored by 3.5. So I think the Chiefs take this one as well. So, all right, Ben, thank you so much. Everyone stay on next because Ben's show is coming up right after this. So stay tuned right here. Today's show is sponsored by Wish LBI and Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code BLONDE and we'll double your deposit up to $100. If you like tonight's show, please subscribe. Please, please, please. And you can follow us on all socials at The Blonde Blitz. Guys, football forever. See you next week and go Birds.